The biggest question is, what would make a man, especially a head of state, to travel across countries just to go spend 40 minutes with a dead person in the same room? Try to process that.
At 14:20, the body arrives of Mr. Lungu. Mr. Hichilema lives, if you go to 266, only at 1500 hours. So he arrives at 1350, the body arrives, he stays there, the body leaves at 1430, so for 40 minutes he is in the same room with the body. And then he leaves at 3 o'clock. This is what the family then says, but once we saw this, we saw red, because this is not what we understood was going on. Why on earth would they be exchanging these programs if on their version by FAA 7 they had reached an agreement? We've got 4 programs in total. And now then the last thing, in addition to the evidence that there is clearly no agreement between the parties, is that what we then see is that the next thing they do at 269, so once they receive that program, that last program, which shows that the president arrives, the body arrives, it stays for 40 minutes, the president leaves, is then at EL20 at page 269 on the 18th of June 2025. Now at 11 o'clock they've received that final program. They will say, notice of decision. This is now my client, Edgar Lungu. Notice of decision to bury the mortal remains of the 6th Republican President of Zambia in South Africa. Please take notice that the family of the 6th Republican President of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Lungu, has decided to bury his mortal remains here in South Africa. Burial arrangements are underway and the family will notify you as soon as the said arrangements are finalized. And that's when they have now decided we can't go on with this.
According to Lungu's family lawyer, the government of the Republic of Zambia did propose that President Hichilema was to be in the same room with Edgar Lungu's body for 40 minutes. The lawyer said these statements in the South African Supreme Court of Appeal. And you know that when it comes to lawyers and the judges, you don't enter the courtroom to lie. You enter the courtroom and you say the truth. So, as you may be aware, the legal battle regarding the remains of the former president of Zambia, Edgar Lungu, continues. And yesterday, we actually saw the family of the late former president appeal to South Africa's Supreme Court, which is in Bloemfontein, to challenge a ruling allowing the Zambian government to repatriate and bury ECL in Zambia. The family's main argument is that the Pretoria High Court wrongly gave burial authority to the government rather than to Lungu's widow, Esther, and his children, whom they say they should have the sole right to decide his burial. Their lawyer added that Lungu opposed any involvement by President Hakainde Hichilema in his funeral, citing political and personal differences. As you may be aware, Lungu died in Pretoria on June 5 last year and remains unburied amid the ongoing legal dispute. Here are some details just to help you catch up.
One has regard to all of that in looking at what is it that perhaps he would have wished for, because that's not contained in the papers yet.
No, we accept that. Perhaps just to deal with what his wishes were.
Yes.
So we know that at page 187, paragraph 3.34, Yes, I think it's volume 2.
187.
Page 187, paragraph 3.34. So here it says, on 18 May 2025, the late President Lungu was interviewed by Dr. Sishuwa, a Zambia historian and a senior lecturer at Stellenbosch University, as part of the academic's research into the book that examines the presidency of the late former president. During their meeting, the late president, inter alia, highlighted his displeasure of the applicant, complained about his ill treatment to which his family is also subjected, and made it clear that he had told his family that were he to die, the applicant, that is the government of Zambia, would have no say in his burial. The two's meeting was widely publicized in the Zambian media after Dr. Sishuwa posted details of the meeting, including pictures of the two, on his social media page on 19 May 2025. These pictures were of appeal in Zambia because they were the first public images of the late former president since he left Zambia in January 2025. Then that's the interview with Dr. Sishuwa. Then the wife then says, I also spoke to him. He says, I personally spoke to the late President Lungu on the 3rd of June 2025 for the last time, shortly before he was sedated in order to insert a ventilator. Among other things, he complained about the ill treatment that the applicant had subjected to, repeated his wish that if he died, the applicant, that is the government, should be nowhere near his body or funeral, and stated that he had also shared this wish with the Zambian researcher, Dr. Sishuwa, when they met on 18 May 2025. This was a deeply traumatic experience, culminating in a painful farewell.
Both is why this matter could not be resolved outside of the courtroom, and we're now in a position where you're just a week away from the first anniversary of the passing of the late former Zambian president. How come it is that these two parties, which are actually get along quite well in this particular setting, could not find each other on this issue? Maybe I should start here with Ms. Kabesha.
Thank you very much. And what I can say is I wasn't part of the negotiators, but I was always asking that if we could come up with an agreement which would be reduced into a consent judgment, so that we shouldn't have reached this far. But as to why they could not conclude the matter and give us the structure of what was agreed so that we could introduce reduce it into a consent order, that I'm not privy to the reasons why they could not agree.
I think the question has since become moot, looking at where we are right now. And every viewer out there is aware of the constant updates that we would give the nation and the world at large as to how that every time we go to what looked like an agreement, there was always something that was cooking on the side of the government that abrogated what seemed like an agreement relating to this particular matter. It's more a matter of hubris than anything else, but the family has always been willing to engage until there was a problem with trust being broken at any given point. But nonetheless, we're here now, and the very basis on which the Zambian government took the matter to court in the High Court, based on the former President's Benefits Act, they have since abandoned that particular argument here in the Supreme Court of Appeal, leaving it to an issue of an agreement, and everybody knows what the status of that agreement is as far as the family is concerned, and how that every time the family made particular proposals, there was always a change on the part of the government as to what they prefer to happen. And the matter that they brought to court is that they are, as a matter of right, entitled to bury the former president to the exclusion of the family. That's a judgment that we sought to set aside.
Is the position still that the current president shouldn't preside over the funeral, or are you completely out of that discussion? I think that is the clarity that the Supreme Court of Appeal was trying to seek from counsel today.
Well, the matter that is before court has got nothing to do with the current status of the family, but what transpired in the High Court. Whether the precedent that the High Court sought to set is a proper precedent in law and we seek the interpretation of the law so that the death of the former president does not constitute what would be a bad precedent that excludes the rights of the family. So the family is here to assert its rights, and upon those rights being asserted, maybe, just maybe, we may be in a position to engage with the government so that an appropriate manner of setting or putting to rest the former president is agreed on.
And just lastly, we have to wrap, Mr. Kabesha. What is the position of the current president with respect to his participation in this particular funeral?
Well, where we have reached now, we can only leave it to the court. Whatever the court will decide, the government will follow what the court will say. It's not about who will be attending or who will be participating, but definitely will follow what the court will decide.
All right, thank you very much, Attorney General Malila Kabesha, and of course the family spokesperson Makebi Zulu, giving us their positions on this long protracted battle.
Now, this case has been going on for quite some time now. So very soon, I think it might be clocking a year now, and Zambia is already heading towards the elections in August. And we just hope that this issue will be resolved as soon as possible, because it would be sad if we were to reach the time for elections and the former president's body has not yet been put to rest. Anyway, we're going to end here for today. Thank you so much for having taken time to watch this video. I'll see you in the next one. This has been the Sage Podcast. Peace.